this computer. All right, we're rolling. So first and foremost, Seay Stanford, thank you so much for doing this call for Team Euphoria. It's really an honor. Yeah, it's a big honor to have you here. And everybody, just to give you a little background, Seay and I connected recently through some dialogue that we had through the 5-star wall, and she was interested in some of the things we've been doing with Shakeology and the Gold's Gym that we have here in Newburgh, especially with some of the volume of Shakeology that we're selling in the gym. And so we've had some dialogue about the ability of Beachbody to really bridge into the world of health clubs much more than they currently are, hopefully moving into the future. So with that, she was very gracious to extend or return a favor. We had a really good conversation, and she said, "What was to do for you?" And I said, "I'd love it to do a team call." So here she is, and let me just say that in all the years that I've been a coach, and actually I got to mute everybody. I know this is a pet peeve of Shay's too. It drives her crazy when there's background. I learned that in the call that I watched. So hold on, let me just mute everybody here.
I literally had somebody flush the toilet during one. Just sat there and listened to the toilet flush.
Yeah, that's no fun. Hold on, let me mute. I'm going to mute everybody except Seay. So, yes. And, okay, so Seay is the only one that's not muted. So just to give you my appreciation for Seay and what she's done. When I first became a coach, Shakeology really to me was the thing that was quickly recognized, and I think most of you would agree, as the driver of your business. You know, we have the fitness programs and whatnot, but Shakeology is really the foundation of a stable, long-term coach business. And as my coaching went on, Seay emerged in the network as really as a guru for Shakeology, to the point where I was watching her recordings and her education. And every time I was doing Coach Basics trainings, I was using her tutorials on Shakeology to train new coaches coming onto the team. And I still believe that she is like the guru when it comes to Shakeology, how to build your business through Shakeology. And I think a lot of it has to do with her background and how she's gotten to be where she is today, a 15-star diamond, 4-time elite coach. She has presented on the National Wake Up Call. She's presented numerous times at Summit. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to her. And she has all the questions that you guys had provided for me during the past couple of weeks. So I gave them to her in a document, and she's going to get to answer all of those questions throughout the night, but certainly can also lead to more dialogue and more Q&A. And if we find that we're running long, and it's kind of like, wow, we've taken on so much tonight, there is the opportunity that we could schedule another call with Seay, say in a few weeks if we want. So that's really great to know. And again, very thankful for you offering that, Seay. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you and take it away.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Obviously, it's a Wednesday night, and you guys all have families and important things to do and be. So the fact that you're here tonight just shows you're vested in your business and your team's business, and learning about what I truly feel is one of the most life-changing, amazing products ever. And if those of you that watch my video, my motto is there's no such thing as really bad fitness, but there is such a rampant bad nutrition. And so many people are consuming and don't know and don't understand or are intimidated by nutrition. And so to me, Shakeology just makes it all super simple. But for the most part, people don't understand Shakeology as coaches and as customers. We're intimidated by it. We think it's like all these moving parts and it's super complex. And really, I hope tonight I'm able to break some things down for you and kind of share some of the educational side of it, but then also how to leverage it for customers and a duplicatable side to it as well, and where you can position it for different people. So as Don said, I got into this business mainly because of Shakeology. I went through some health issues because I had done HCG shots trying to lose weight desperately. Ended up finding a quarter-sized tumor in my right breast. Long story short, it was benign, but when I had done research, I realized it was due to the 12 days, not 30 days, but just the 12 days I had taken these HCG shots, and the correlation between these HCG shots and increased tumors, and so on and so forth. So for me, it was very important, and it kind of became my new calling to not only educate myself on the effects of chemicals and bad nutrition, especially when it comes to weight loss, but also educate others. It kind of became my life's passion. It was to teach that. So when I came across Shakeology, of course I researched it and I looked for certain ingredients, which I'll cover later, that shouldn't be in any health product, so to speak. And there's pretty much not any question I can't answer. So like Don said, if there's anything that I don't get to tonight, I'm more than happy to share again on another call, and also give you some resources where you can get the answers. I will ask those of you that are on your computer to pull up the chat, because I've got some links for some of your questions, because I don't want to get into the depth of some of these answers for the sake of time, but I do have amazing blog posts I've written on them, like the fibromyalgia and stuff like that, that I'll touch on it, but then I'll share the link in the chat. And then those of you, maybe Don, you can copy those and send them directly.
Absolutely.
On the call.
Yeah, great.
So, I just didn't want to take the time for the sake to get into it. Okay, so if it's okay with you, Don, I'll just go through the questions.
Yeah.
And answer them. And then if new questions come up, or I don't explain something very well or whatever, just absolutely bring it up. We can, I don't want to be a talking head up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Understood. Yep.
Is that good?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is, if I were to start over again as a new coach, and I'll read these because I don't know if everybody, so you know what I'm getting ready to address. If I were to start over again as a new coach, or someone was a new coach, how would I go about getting the first Shakeology customer? Would you organize a shake and share, an event? Would you give away free samples, etc.? Basically helping new coaches get started. So the first thing I will say, hands down, is when I started as a new coach, I thought that eat the low-lying fruit was going to be unhealthy people. But what I had learned is that the unhealthy people are the hardest people to convince to make a life change. So if you're a new coach, I would actually start with the healthy people. And here's why: because healthy people are easier to sell and share the value of Shakeology, because they're more in tune with how their body changes. They've already done most of the research on what things that they do and don't want in their body. They're more quickly to see the value of Shakeology because they understand a lot of the ingredients in them. And healthy people are more willing to pay for health. They're the ones that are going to the gym. They're investing and they're going to Whole Foods. That money is less of an issue when it comes to their health. So my very first tip would be, your low-lying fruit would be the healthy people you know. Now, one would think unhealthy people, that's such a bigger population and they need the biggest difference, but that's like turning a freaking cruise ship around. Because you're having to convince them, you're having to educate them from scratch. It's a much harder sell, which can defeat your confidence. So I would definitely start with healthy people. My second tip, I necessarily would not call them a shake and share. The reason why is I feel like because there's so many shakes on the market, people are kind of like, oh, they're going to sell me an Herbalife. They're going to sell me an ice. I mean, it's kind of a cliche thing that they're like going to be sold some freaking shake. And the second thing they're going to assume is that it's a protein shake, not a nutritional meal replacement type shake. So I would get away from the term shake and share. And what I suggest to my team is, if you're going to offer something as an event, I don't know how many of you guys run 5-day clean eating groups, meal prep groups, any of these free groups that you're already offering online, you can do in person. And then incorporate Shakeology into that free value. Because then what you're doing, so whenever you offer value to somebody for free, you're lowering resistance. They're like, okay, people aren't used to actually getting something of value without being, sold something. And if you think about people in the mall, right, those little kiosks in the mall, and all you're doing is trying to get to like the place at the end of the mall, and people want to flat iron your hair, rub lotion on your face, spray perfume, right, to where you almost feel like a gecko, like trying to scale the side of the mall to try and get around these kiosk people, right? That's high resistance. They're not offering something for free because you feel like they're going to hard sell you into something. So the way to lower resistance, especially as a new coach, I would say, offer something for free, like any of these free online groups you can do in person, and then share the value of Shakeology, which we'll get to later. Yeah. And really not expect anything in return. The last thing I would say for this is whenever you're answering a question, and I learned this in pharmaceutical sales, always end with what is called a WIFM, W-I-F-M. What's in it for me? As in the customer perspective, what's in it for the customer? Because when someone's listening to you, they're thinking in the back of their head, what's in it for me? And so the easy way, whenever you say anything, whether it's, hey, come to my gym and you can get the Beachbody on demand, or you can try Shakeology, or answer what that means to you, Don, is that you're going to be able to come to the gym and you're going to be able to try some state-of-the-art fitness on your terms, on your schedule, without having to work around a personal trainer or anything like that. What it means to you is when you drink Shakeology for a month, your body is going to feel amazing because it's going to get so many nutrients it's not used to getting on a consistent basis. The WIFM is basically sharing with the customer what's in it for them. And I think where a lot of us coaches go wrong is we just kind of vomit information on them without tying it together with what it means to them.
That's good.
Okay. So as a coach, anytime you're writing a post or you're talking to somebody, in the back of your mind thinking, make sure I add what this means to you is da 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 da. And that helps create value to what matters to the person. Okay. Is it safe to say Shakeology can replace a multivitamin? I'm a new coach. I love, that's da 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 da. Okay, and then carpal tunnel went away. Okay, let's talk about the vitamins. So I personally always suggest the vegan formula. And I don't necessarily call it vegan. I call it plant-based because I feel like vegan just has a negative connotation to it. But here's the thing. Yes, to answer the question, you can absolutely suggest it as a vitamin. I have women that are pregnant and their OBGYNs say, absolutely, you can take your prenatal or you can take Shakeology, just add extra folic acid if you're drinking Shakeology. Now, here are some subsets to that. Unlike a vitamin. So someone may say, oh, it's a lot cheaper for me to take a vitamin. The thing is all these vitamins that are, the 1-a-days or whatever they are, they're all synthetic fortified vitamins. So our bodies are not going to recognize those vitamins as a real whole food. So sometimes they may get backed up in our system. They may go through our system. We don't really know if our body's absorbing them because our body doesn't recognize it as a real food. So when someone says to you, yeah, my husband said, I really should be getting my vitamins from real whole foods. That's true, because when you're getting it from real whole foods, your body is recognizing it and absorbing it, which is exactly why I say, yes, your husband's absolutely right, which is why if you drink Shakeology, specifically the vegan formula, you're getting all your vitamins from a real whole food. Plus, you're getting a meal. Plus, you're getting the probiotics and all the other superfoods that come with it. No multivitamin is going to have all of that. Now, most people are deficient in vitamin D or B12, things like that. If they are deficient in certain specific things, is Shakeology going to cover everybody? No. But in general, it's covering pretty much all the vitamins that someone may need for the day in a whole food formulation if it's the white bag. Yeah. I say that because
Do you want to?
The black bag, when you turn it around, it has all the actual vitamin content in it. That's how you know that there's some fortified vitamins in it. The white bag, people are like, there's no vitamin content or nutritional information of the white bag. The reason why is because it's truly dried whole foods. If you were to go to your garden and pull out 2 carrots out of your garden, both carrots aren't going to be nutritionally exact. Some may have more, some may have less. So the white bag, because it's 100% dried food, you can't predict to put on a label exactly how much beta carotene is in the bag.
Shay, quick question. I had a question with to Darren, and they didn't answer it. I have MTHFR. Is the folic acid in that synthetic, or is it the methylated?
I don't know that answer,
Okay.
but I would say your best bet, because the black bag does have some fortified,
Yeah.
That's why I always personally stick with the white bag.
Okay.
Because it's literally the dried whole foods, and that's it.
Okay.
So Shay, I have a question too, kind of on 2 questions. One of them was the fortified, because I struggle with that. I drink the vegan one as well, and I know that the black bag is fortified. So you're saying like vitamins are fortified, and Shakeology is better because it's not. But then if they decide to go with the regular one, it's fortified. So how do you?
Some of them are fortified, yes, in the black bag. Not all of them, but some.
And why did they do that? Do you know?
Yes. Well, originally when they came out with Shakeology, they were Don probably remembers this. There were 2 different prices.
Yeah.
You were paying more for the vegan and less for the black.
Okay.
But then instead of, a lot of the cost went up. And so instead of raising the cost of everything, they just raised the cost of the black bag to equal the white.
Okay. And then the other question is, I've had a lot of people that are like, they're not comfortable with the vegan because they don't know the actual value. And I say what you say, like an apple's not an apple, the same apple, they're not the same.
Are they not comfortable eating a salad because they don't know how much is in it?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Although I have looked, and like some bags of fruits and vegetables and stuff will have a value. I'm guessing it's an average value. But They're like, well, I literally had somebody go to Vega One because she was like, well, I can see on the back, like how she's like, I think it's kind of like shifty that you can't actually see the amount in it. And I struggle with that because I get why, but I also understand that if somebody's value based, they want to know like, well, how, like, am I overdoing this vitamin or whatever? Like, how do I know what I'm getting?
Here's the ironic thing is the minute she's taking a fortified vitamin with the Vega One, she has no idea what her body's absorbing because it's fortified. So she's defeating her whole argument.
So, and that would go with the regular, she's a vegan, so it wouldn't really apply to her with the vegan, but with the regular Shakeology, same thing though, right? You don't actually know what you're absorbing with the regular one with those fortified vitamins. Okay.
Right. So I will typically position the black bag for the unhealthy people that it's better than nothing. I mean, it's still amazing ingredients, but it's better they're getting that than nothing. But for people, I feel that if you're truly investing in a health product, the way Shakeology is, I always push for the vegan bag because it's completely 100% natural.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
With the general public, they're like, the black bag's way better than what they're doing anyway.
Well, and people get freaked out with the word vegan. Like they think it means like dirt or something.
Right. That's why I say plant-based because it just.
Yeah, I'm going to steal that because you use the word vegan. Like even I cook a vegan meal and people are like, I don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Okay. And I'll say this. One of my top coaches, her name's Patty Huss. She's 55. She started taking a ton of vitamins, but this is before she became a coach. And she was getting such an upset stomach because of the amount of vitamins she was taking. And a part of her story was she was spending $400 a month on these vitamins. It was upsetting her stomach. And then she ended up getting rid of all the vitamins to be able to drink Shakeology, which obviously was a meal and it didn't upset her stomach. So to her, that's like a big part of her story. So, so there was another part of this. Here's the other thing with Shakeology, the digestive enzymes in Shakeology, and we'll get to this a little bit later. The digestive enzymes, and sometimes I explain this to clients. We eat so much processed food, right? So this is a really good way to, when people are like, oh, I'm just going to do the portion fix, I'm not going to do Shakeology. So imagine a hose, and that hose has a bunch of gunk and buildup in it, a garden hose. And then you decide to eat clean. There's not that great of absorption because that hose is lined with so much gunk that even though they may be doing portion fix, the 21-day fix or whatever, they're not really going to absorb the vitamins because it's almost like their digestive system isn't primed. One of the beauties behind Shakeology is the digestive enzymes that they've chosen and use go through and break up a lot of the processed food, a lot of the gunk in your digestive system and flush it out, which is, I think somebody had asked, you know, sometimes when people's stomachs are upset for the first few days of drinking Shakeology, that's a good thing because it's breaking up all of that stuff. Around days 3 or 4, it's finally through. Then when they're taking in those vitamins now, imagine that hose being cleaned out, their body's like sucking it up. So it's such a benefit to have Shakeology on board because now you're priming your body to really absorb those vitamins compared to if they just did the meal plan. You're getting all those digestive enzymes and probiotics in there, which you're not going to typically get by just doing the meal plan. Okay, and then the second part of this question was about the inflammation, the carpal tunnel. So nearly every single disease on the planet is related to inflammation. You reduce inflammation, you will reduce the severity of a disease, period. There are probably 26 to 30 superfoods in Shakeology that have been used for thousands of years just to reduce inflammation. So it's not by chance that when people drink Shakeology consistently, that their migraines start to go away, their blood pressure goes down, their cholesterol goes down. All of these ailments they've had for years, that especially ones that revolve around inflammation. Inflammation is anything that ends in itis, colitis, diverticulitis, there's tons of itises. All that is inflammation. And then you drink Shakeology and a lot of those ingredients naturally reduce inflammation. So it's not random that people start feeling better and their ailments go away. It's those superfoods that have been used for thousands of years to do that. Okay, the next thing. I'll read those later. Let me stick with these. Okay. Brigitta's video about pregnancy. Okay, so this is, I wish Shakeology was around when I was pregnant with my last child, but this is my personal opinion. Pregnancy is a time when, as women, we are the most nutrient deficient ever. We're creating a life that is taking basically everything out of us and putting it in to create a human being. We want that human being to have all the best nutrients and vitamins possible because its brain's developing, heart's developing, all these amazing organs are developing. And we're so nutrient deficient, we're craving crappy foods that we're feeding our body that's then feeding the baby. So to me, logically, the best time in your life, if you're going to drink Shakeology, would be when you're pregnant, because that's when you're most nutrient deficient and you're creating a human being. And you're tired and your body is just not what it normally feels like. Now, on the flip side, some doctors will say, well, ashwagandha is one particular herbal that could cause preterm labor. Now, so can having sex in your 3rd trimester, so can exercise cause preterm labor. It's just one of those things where if you're a high risk pregnancy, I would say, I would definitely use it with caution because of that very, very slim chance of the little bit of ashwagandha could cause preterm labor. But do the benefits of all those nutrients for you and your baby you're growing far outweigh the risk? Absolutely. And then the other thing I would say is that person also questioning everything else that they're putting in their body? Are they questioning the Starbucks or the Dairy Queen or the midnight runs to Steak and Shake? Are they questioning that as well? Probably not. So why the hell would they be questioning Shakeology, which is the best thing they could put in their body while they're growing a human being? So I would just leave it at that. And again, that's my personal answer. Okay. What exactly should we put in a how-to video of Shakeology? Should we be plain? Should we add stuff? How in depth should we go? Okay, so all of us, when we become coaches, we get the myshakeology.com website. If you go to your myshakeology.com / your URL, your coach or your screen name, and it's just your Shakeology site, there's a tab that's called recipes, and you can click that tab. And what I love about that is you can literally pick recipes in different calorie ranges. And what that means for you, is that you can adjust Shakeology based on the person you're talking to. So if you've got a child or an elderly person that needs to gain weight, or somebody who's maybe doing Body Beast that needs to gain weight, and they need a shake that's 500 to 750 calories, then you can give them one of those recipes. But if you've got somebody who needs, if they want to use Shakeology as a snack, you can pick the calorie ranges based on what that person's needs are. And everybody has that under myshakeology.com, their website, under the recipes. So I would maybe pick a recipe that is somewhat basic, but the one thing I would say is trying to pick a recipe where I prefer it be too watery than too thick. And then they can always make it thicker later. I find too many people make it sludgy initially. But I would not say one calorie range fits all, because I work with a lot of older people who need to put weight on. And you probably do too at the gym, with guys wanting to put weight on.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's some amazing recipes on that site for there. Okay. I've had people approach me about Shakeology and seem really interested in want more information. I leverage Shakeology as a nutritional meal replacement. But at the end of our conversation, they go, I'm glad it's working for you. I'll just keep trying things on my own. Where do you go from there? Okay. This is what's called, and I learned this in my pharmaceutical sales days, this is called positive indifference, which means they see them all as the same. So the positive here is that they don't see the value in what you're offering. So this is a huge opportunity for you to share more value. And my suggestion in offering more value is to always ask questions. So if someone were to say, that's fine, that it's great, it works for you, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing, I'll be like, okay, Dawn, share with me this. When you're trying to lose weight, what do you struggle with the most? Well, it's usually cravings, or I'm tired, or I don't have time to make meals. So then you can find out whatever their answer is and then leverage Shakeology as the solution. So I think sometimes when people have positive indifference and just don't really see the value, we have more of an opportunity to find out where their struggles are so that we can put Shakeology as that solution. So another question you could say is, share with me what's worked for you in the past when trying to lose weight or put on weight, and why it's not working now. That answer is going to give you a lot of information where then you can add Shakeology as the value to that problem that they're still facing. And this one's a little bit more touchy, but it's one that, you can also bring up. Do you have any history of family illness that concerns you? Because if they say, yeah, both my parents have diabetes, it concerns me, or they have high cholesterol. Well, let me share with you how Shakeology is clinically proven to reduce cholesterol, and then you send them that video. So that's called positive indifference, and that just means they haven't seen the value yet, and so it's not a no, it just is an opportunity for us to ask questions to find more information. Okay. Shakeology and fibromyalgia, two coaches that swear it stopped all the episodes. I'd like to hear more about this. Again, inflammation and digestive issues and all of that, leaky gut, autoimmune, all of that is stuff that is a benefit of Shakeology, especially with fibromyalgia. So I just posted in the chat my link on my website for that. Now, I will give you guys a tip that my team knows. If you go to my website, ShayStanford.com, in the top right corner is a search bar. You can use that as your Shakeology FAQ. Now, the problem with the Beachbody one is Jonathan Gelfand is all over it. compliance and legal is all over it. So it's going to give you a very basic answer. If you use my website, I have testimonies. I share more of the reason why Shakeology helps with a lot of these diseases. So if you have a client that has migraines or high cholesterol, you can utilize my website as a resource on explaining why and having testimonies. So there's the one I did on the fibromyalgia. Okay.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, Shay.
Thank you. Selfishly, I got tired of answering the questions over and over. I started putting them on my website. And
I can imagine.
Shay,
Yeah.
just based on your knowledge with I know and the feedback. Do you find that a lot that you've worked with have had issues with common foods that might be in Shakeology, or is it the case that it's just basically processed foods and bad diets?
That's a long answer.
Okay, we can park it.
Yeah. I'll tell you in a nutshell, so many people deal, and I'll touch on the topic, but I'm not going to get into it. So many people deal with leaky gut and gut permeability that they become, and have extensive, I actually have a video I did with Darren Oline for my team on this first, my team and my challengers. But the general answer is so many people have gut permeability or leaky gut that when whatever foods they're eating, healthy or not, leaks into their body. And then their body starts attacking the food as it's a foreign invader, because it shouldn't be in your body. It should be in your digestive system. And so their body starts reacting to even healthy foods. Okay. That's the short answer. And it's regardless whether it's Shakeology, a sweet potato,
because mine was spinach, chia, amaranth. I mean, you're talking superfoods here. So I'm going to retest after the baby. Hopefully they go away.
My advice would be fix the gut, and then you'll fix the sensitivities.
I did fix it. Yeah, I went through the whole autoimmune protocol, but I have to retest. I'll retest after the baby. Everything's all up in the air right now. But
yeah, I went through the same thing last year, to be honest. I was having all these symptoms, and I didn't realize, and my functional medicine physician was like, you've eaten great for 5 years, but that doesn't undo 37 years of eating Roundup and pesticides and processed foods. And so it takes a while to heal. It's a good question. It's a longer answer. Okay. What's another way to deal with comparison cost and value when it comes to Shakeology? I have an answer that works. I don't know what your answer is, but I want to get someone's perspective. Okay, so anytime cost is always, always, always a smokescreen for value. Because if somebody will spend $200 on a Disney ticket, and because they see value, they will buy a Louis Vuitton, they will buy a Lexus instead of a Toyota, even though it's essentially the same car, because to them it has a perceived value. If they feel it's expensive, it's because they don't see the value. So it's our job as coaches to help put it in perspective for them. So if someone says it's expensive, I'll ask them, well, share with me what you spend on an average meal, a healthy meal, not ramen noodles. And I'm going to tell you, and it's probably more in New York, but it's usually between $3 and $7. I know here, if I went to Chick-fil-A and got a chicken salad, it would be like $8.99. And that's not even that great a quality. It's not even that great a quality of food. But getting people to agree, I mean, if you went to Whole Foods and got a quinoa salad, I mean, that's probably $6 or $7. Putting in perspective what they accept to pay, and then where Shakeology, like, well, that's great. So Shakeology comes about $4.50 a day. That's on the really low side of average. Plus, not only are you getting a meal, you're getting your vitamins, you're getting probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a whole lot of superfoods are going to give you energy and help your body heal. You're not going to get that from a Chick-fil-A salad. So putting it in perspective. And then the other perspective, and I know you guys have heard this, is, when's the last time you bought a month worth of meals at once? Typically we go to the store, we buy 4 or 5 days worth at once, but you're buying literally 30 meals all at once. And so instead of having to plan 3 meals a day, you're only having to plan 2 a day. That's such a time saver because that's one less meal you've got to worry about. So it's just sometimes putting it in perspective. The other thing I sometimes feel people do is they assume it's a protein shake. And I ask them, you know, if they're like, oh, that's a lot for a protein shake. I'm like, oh, so you're drinking protein. Do you feel you're protein deficient? Nobody can answer that because they're so taught by media and reading magazines that they need protein shake. But when you compare what's on the average American's plate, there's a ton of protein. It's just there's not a ton of nutrients. And so that's another perspective to share. That, you know, in actuality, more people are nutrient deficient than they are protein deficient. So start with the nutrients. And if you're like my husband who does Body Beast, you can add protein to it, but protein's not going to do you any good if you don't have all the other nutrients with it. So just differentiating. Okay. After I educate on the value, I get pushback on price. Felt the impact of Shakeology. She needed to cut out the big budget cut and drink a Subpar Shake because her goal is consistency with having breakfast, and she's not a health nut. I also get pushback on people even trying for fear of wanting to continue. I'm not exercising because I might get results. I have to go to the gym. I don't know. That's probably an unhealthy person and they're harder to sell to. Okay. All right. So my first answer would be this. Dawn, I understand you're not a health nut and that's fine. But you know what? If you're not a health nut, then all the more reason you need to drink Shakeology because everything else is not going to help you. So if you're going to invest in one thing, you need to invest in Shakeology specifically because you're not a health nut. It's your insurance that your body's at least getting one meal that's going to help it. So that would be my answer for that. A Subpar Shake. Okay, so this is how I answer anything that has to do with the competition. I never ever mention the product by name. And so regardless of what it is, my neighbor has some they gave me, or I'm going to finish what I have, whatever. That's fine. Dawn, all I would say is when you go home, turn the shake container around and look at the ingredients on the back. Don't compare the carbs and look at the ingredients. And as long as it doesn't have these 4 ingredients, that's fine. I'm going to tell you guys, they will. But the 4 ingredients, make sure, Dawn, that the shake that you're drinking, that Subpar Shake, does not have artificial colors or artificial flavors. Make sure that that shake does not have artificial sweeteners like sucralose or NutraSweet or any of those artificial sweeteners. And make sure that shake does not have soy. And make sure that shake does not have high fructose corn syrup. As long as it doesn't have any of those, you know, I finish what you've got and then we can talk later. But if you're going to drink something in the morning for the purpose of health, nothing healthy should ever have those 4 ingredients in it. You're not bashing a product. You're educating them on if the whole spirit behind their quest is to have something healthy, it should not have those 4 ingredients. And every single freaking shake on the market does because they're designed to be cheap with cheap ingredients. Artificial sweeteners, artificial flavors, colors, soy, and high fructose corn syrup. Okay. If you're talking to somebody who is concerned about stomach intestinal upset because of the experience with other products or just because they have a lot of issues, what points would you recommend? Is there a particular amount of time they should consistently take the product before they know if it's going to cause them issues or help if they have? Have you ever encountered anybody who actually had an issue as far as stomach upset or other digestion drinking Shakeology? Okay. I have found that more often than not, the culprits are actually not the Shakeology. It's the increase in fiber, and I'll explain these in a second, or the dairy. Because in 6 years, I have literally only had, and apparently I have the highest HD retention in the company, so I'm told. In 6 years, I've had 2 people that could not take Shakeology because of digestive issues, and they tried. So if somebody has digestive issues in the first week, it's probably because, remember I was talking about the digestive enzymes and kind of how they clean out your digestive tract? Well, that might not feel real comfortable to some people. And if they usually just let it pass after 4 or 5 days, their body will regulate and it will go away. 9 times out of 10, that's always been the case. The second thing is sometimes these people aren't consuming milk. So then they get their packet of Shakeology, they pour milk into it and mix it up or add yogurt or whatever it is. And because they're slightly lactose intolerant and didn't realize it, they have stomach cramps. And they assume it's the Shakeology. Never would it be the milk. So if somebody says, yeah, I drank it and I'm getting stomach cramps, ask them how they're making it. And then offer maybe almond milk or water. Because it could very well be a slight case of lactose intolerance, or offer the plant-based formula. The other thing is fiber. The average woman needs 25 grams of fiber a day. The man needs 35. Most Americans get 3 to 6. Fiber takes out the garbage. It's like as your body breaks things up, fiber latches onto it and pulls it out of your body. Without fiber, it all builds up in your system. Fiber is nature's appetite suppressant. You have all these people taking diet pills. All they need to do is up their fiber because it's a filler. It's an appetite suppressant. Everything that diet pills are designed to do, fiber does naturally, and it pulls everything out of your body while it regrows and helps your digestive ecosystem. The problem with fiber is this. If someone's only used to 3 to 6 grams a day, and then they drink Shakeology that I think's got like 5 or 6, the problem with fiber, if you guys have like ever gone out and eat too many beans in a Mexican restaurant, it hurts your stomach because it expands and you've taken in too much. The thing with fiber is you have to go up slowly. You have to work your way towards 25 grams a day. So if the average person's maybe getting 3, because their diet consumes of like the brown and tan category day in and day out, and then they start drinking Shakeology, the fiber is going to upset their stomach because it's more than their body's used to. But if they continue drinking it, or maybe do a half a shake every day, work their way up to 1, and then they, by that point, I have people on Digestive Boost, add the Digestive Boost to it to help get yourself up to the 25 grams a day. But your average person may have stomach cramps because they're not used to that much fiber that quick. Probably not the Shakeology. Although that's the first thing everybody wants to assume. It's got to be that healthy shake I'm drinking. Okay, so, all right, next thing. What effective way can we promote Shakeology on Facebook without looking salesy? Is a selfie with us drinking a shake a good idea? Absolutely. How often should we post about it? Okay, how to not look salesy is to create value. And remember, we share a benefit, and then we say, what this means for you is da-da-da-da-da. So always using the WIFM with added value. So what I would suggest, and I should share with my team this very same thing. We all do personal development. Spend 10 minutes a day and do product development. There's awesome Shakeology podcasts you can listen to on the way to your car, while you're on the treadmill, while you're doing something. They're like literally 3 to 10 minutes max. And then whatever you hear, think about how does that apply to me? So if you hear Darren talking about that, the adaptogens, or the, let's say, phytonutrients, when you learn like the phytonutrients help build your body's immune system and fight off disease, post a picture of yourself with your shake and say, you know what? I absolutely love Shakeology because I've not gotten sick in 2 years, or I get sick less often, or when I do get sick, it's not as long because I drink Shakeology and it's helping build my immune system. What this means for you is that if you get sick a lot, you may not miss as much work or spend as much on doctor bills or miss as much school with your kids missing as much school, so on and so forth. Those are some examples. What you don't want is just to post either a stock photo of Shakeology or a picture of you with Shakeology going to work like, yum, That's not value, and that doesn't share what it means for the person. So doing just a little bit of product development and then sharing what you've learned and how it applies to your life and what it can mean for them. That's not salesy, that's adding value. And along the way, you're going to learn and get more excited on the show. As far as where to start, because I get this question a lot, like, where do I start? Like, do I start Googling? I don't even know all the superfoods in Shakeology. You don't have to. I would start by Googling adaptogens. These are the categories: phytonutrients, digestive enzymes, and go to my Seay Stanford page and type in probiotics. I would start with that, because when you know what that class of foods do for your body, it's mind-blowing, and it's really exciting. It will really excite you on how to position what's in Shakeology.
Shay, can you just hit upon there was one point that I thought was so powerful from your Shakeology 2.0 on the probiotic, the specific probiotic that's used, and how your functional doctor brought it to your attention that it was like the creme de la creme.
So when I was a coach for about 2 years, an old GI doctor I used to call and actually messaged me, and he goes, "Can you tell me the kind of probiotic that's in Shakeology?" So I grabbed the bag, I looked, and I typed him back, and I'm like, "Oh God, please don't rip me a new one." And I said, "It's Bacillus coagulin," and he writes back and he said, "Wow, I'm really impressed that that's what your company uses, because," here's the whiffum, probiotics are not, there's so few probiotics that can have the integrity to withstand stomach acid. So when a GI doctor will say to a patient, "Oh, you're having all this upset problems with your stomach, go do probiotics, or you've taken antibiotics, take more probiotics." The problem is most people go to their grocery store, they get a Dannon yogurt with the probiotic, little person on the thing, they eat it, and they're like, "Okay, I'm not really feeling better or getting better." Problem is those are really cheap probiotics, so the food company can actually say it's got probiotics, but the probiotics are useless. They're not doing anything in the intestine the way it's supposed to. Bacillus coagulin is the only probiotic made by nature that can withstand stomach acid to actually get to the small intestine to grow the good flora. And he says the only problem with this one probiotic is it's frightfully expensive, so people don't use it or endorse it. He goes, "I am really impressed that's the probiotic your company has chosen to put in Shakeology."
That's amazing.
Bacillus coagulin. So it's not just about having probiotics in your bag. It's about having the right kind of probiotic, because who cares if it doesn't sustain to do the job it's supposed to do. Okay. And I have that on my website. If you type probiotic, I explain that. So if you want to revisit that. Okay. How would using Shakeology to treat inflammatory flare-up, and how to understand why some people have. All right, let's start with the inflammatory flare-up. Again, there are so many superfoods that reduce inflammation in Shakeology. It's just they need to drink it every day. I mean, that's how I would suggest using it. It's going to naturally start reducing inflammation. How to understand why some people have diarrhea when they first start using it. I think I explained that. Okay. This one was really good. Rhonda wrote this one. Let's see. Rhonda is a high school teacher, and she speaks to students on nutrition and the nutrient deficiency. I felt her lecture deep down and heard everything she had to say. Anyway, being from the Midwest, I feel I see more than the average obese child or adult, purely due to our overindulgent lifestyle up here and the availability of good German food. When I hear Seay speak about Shakeology to help combat nutritional deficiencies, I want to start immediately with every self-induced diabetic in my hometown. Unfortunately, the Midwest also brings frugality, and quite frankly, I've learned that not many are interested in spending money on their own health. Again, unhealthy people are harder to convince. Crazy, I know. So my question is, okay, so let's talk about just the situation here. Again, it is so much harder to convince unhealthy people, especially in the Midwest, because they have grown up hearing, and corn farmers, dairy farmers, meat in the Texas industry, like the entire Midwest whole section of the United States, their whole livelihood is stuff that puts weight on you. And that's their livelihood. That's what they've grown up knowing and farming and everything. So it's so much harder to convince those folks, but it is obviously very frustrating because they're the ones that are having such, unfortunately, the diabetes and all the consequences. But again, the healthy people are so much easier to convince. Unhealthy will typically make a difference, but it's usually not till it's too late. But the question was, why can't Shakeology be something that doctors recommend? Insurance companies endorse, and we give to prescribe to chronically unhealthy people. I'm curious, with my pharmaceutical background, if she thinks it could become a prescription. And okay, and I'm going to share 2 links with you guys because I don't want to get into this, but this is my pharmaceutical industry.
A loaded question.
So first of all, no, it will not. The short answer, but here's why. Because when you look at the Food and Drug Administration and the U.S. government and the lobbyists for all these different states, you can bet your bottom dollar that Texas cattle farmer is lining the pockets of Congress and people in Washington, D.C. to keep cattle on the food plate, to keep meat and dairy and all of that on the food plate. The people in the Midwest are doing the same thing. What politician is going to lobby that you actually don't really need meat, or that you need soy or corn or any of these major foods that are grown in the Midwest and piss off those states and lose those electoral votes in those? It's political. And then when you look at it from a pharmaceutical standpoint, so if you look at the food plate, it's always going to have foods on it that really truly aren't necessary, even though we can watch documentaries and know to our core those foods aren't necessary and don't really bring that much nutritional value. Now, from a pharmaceutical standpoint, I hate to say this, there's way more money in people being sick than in people being healthy. So is a pharmaceutical company going to really invest money in researching maca root? Probably not, because there's no profit in something healthy. And so when people are like, why isn't it FDA approval? Food and drugs do, but supplements and food don't have to be FDA approved. Cheerios and Oreo cookies are not FDA approved. So Shakeology is not going to be FDA approved either. When people are like, oh, that's not FDA approved. Neither are Oreos. The whole industry, honestly, guys, it's corrupt. And when people say, oh, I'll just ask my doctor what I should do, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to send you the article. It's one of the links I'm going to send you. The Journal of American Medicine, which is the #1 read journal in the physician industry. It's like the guru of journals. Wrote an article, and I have it in this link I'm going to send you. The average doctor in 12 years of school, medical school, gets less than half a semester, maybe 2 chapters on nutrition. Yet, the 99.9% of the population puts 100% of their nutritional holy grail advice in what their doctor says. And there's an amazing article in the Journal of American Medicine that says, why are people giving doctors so much integrity on something they're not even trained on? And then what do? They go to nutritionists, nutritionists are actually trained by the government and the government food plate. So will Shakeology ever be endorsed? No, because it gets people healthy through natural foods. It doesn't line the pockets of the government. It doesn't keep people sick. The #1 lobbyist when we were in pharmaceutical companies was pharmaceutical companies in Washington, D.C. You'll never see Shakeology endorsed. It's up to us as coaches on a grassroots level to educate people and teach people. And I say fortunately, because you know what? We have a really big job to do. When people are like, oh, our industry's saturated, or no, it's not. Look around. We're more obese and we're sicker than ever. We have a really big job to do as coaches to get people. They don't have to do everything right, but all they have to do is drink one frickin' shake a day. And that will make the biggest difference. That's just the best way for them to start. And it's cheaper than any damn Chick-fil-A salad. All right, I'm gonna send those 2 articles. This is the first one from the Journal of American Medicine. And then the second one is why the FDA does not approve.
Guys, I'm copying these links into a document, so don't worry about copying them. I'll share it on the page.
Oh, and then here is a YouTube video I did on diabetes. There. Okay. All right, next one. How do you address potential customers' concerns when they have nutritional sensitivities, nut allergies, celiac, lactose intolerance? Okay, they're lactose intolerant, suggest the plant-based Shakeology. That one's easy. And have them obviously make it with almond milk or water. Nuts and shellfish. This is one that most people don't know. I learned this in pharmaceutical sales. Here's another link for you, Don. There. All the nuts and shellfish mean is it was made in a facility. So this is the way most drugs and foods are made. There's like imagine a huge building that's 11 stories high. And Nestle has the top 3 floors. Beachbody maybe has the 10th floor, 9th floor, whatever. All these different companies have their own floors with their own plants and everything. That whole facility, everything made in that facility has to say made in a facility with nuts, shellfish, peanut, whatever. Even if GlaxoSmithKline, my company, made a drug on the 3rd floor, we have to have that on our labeling. Because if somebody has a nut particle on their lab coat from the 11th floor and shares an elevator with somebody from the 3rd floor, that nut particle could float over and get on someone and cross-contaminate a different floor. And that is the way the FDA mandates that labeling. It does not mean it was made in the same area, same machine, nothing. That's what that means. And so many people think, oh, it's made with that. There are no nuts in Shakeology. And sometimes I ask that, like, what nuts are you seeing in Shakeology? There are none. There's no shelf. That's what that labeling means. And you'll see it on a lot of things because most places share facilities, like big, massive warehouse facilities. So there's the link for that, explaining that. Okay, and if they have celiac, well, Shakeology is gluten-free, so there you go. That's easy. Okay, so those are all the questions. And I'm gonna tell you guys this. At the end of the day, like when I started Beachbody, I didn't know any of this. I've learned it along the way. Am I passionate about it? Absolutely. But when I started as a new coach, it's all about belief and passion. And when you share that belief and passion with people, you don't have to know all the answers. In fact, if they ask you guys something and you don't know the answer, it's great because you can say, you know what, Don, that is an awesome question. I actually don't know the answer, but I'm going to find out and I'm going to get back to you in a few days. Then you have an in to start a conversation with that person again. And the fact that you actually followed up with information not only impresses the person you're speaking with, but it also helps educate you. So it's okay and I said that probably 10 to 12 times a day as a new coach, but it gave me an avenue to open that door again and have another conversation. You guys don't have to know everything. It's all in your passion and how you present Shakeology and the product and the stories that you share about it. People don't care what maca root does and all these different things. What they do, what they want to know is how it's going to benefit their life, the WIPM, what's in it for them.
Shay, just one more quick question, sorry. This is ingredient question. What are your views, and I could probably do some research, I haven't done too much yet, on the gums. I know xanthan gum is in Shakeology.
I have that on my website.
Okay, yeah.
Just go to Seay Stanford and you can pull
FAQs?
Well, not the FAQs, just go to my website and there's a search bar and then you can type that in there.
Okay.
And I have that one on there as well. Because I've gotten that question several times before too. Trust me when I tell you, you guys, there is no other product on the market like Shakeology, with the amazing ingredients, with where we get them from these other countries, the integrity that we make them with, how we bring them to dry out. You know that, like, when they dry these out, like, you know, if you cook food, it loses the natural enzymes, right? Well, there's a 5-degree variance with all the superfoods that are in Shakeology, that if they cook them too much, it kind of becomes a moot point because you cooked off all the enzymes that made it great. But if you don't dry them out enough, they're going to rot in the bag. So when your customer opens it, it's a bunch of rotting food. It's 5 degrees times 70 superfoods, and every single superfood has to be dried differently to maintain that nutritional integrity. What we go through as a company to bring the most amazing quality in that bag and deliver it to your clients with the best type of probiotic, with so many superfoods nobody can come near, that we have no soy, artificial flavors, colors, sweeteners. We have none of that. It is such a pure product. Trust me when I tell you, we are absolutely bulletproof. And the only thing holding you back from sharing this product with people is your own belief and your own passion to share it with people, because there is no objection out there that we can't confidently handle.
Shay, I have a question, because you seem really knowledgeable just on the ingredients and stuff, and you may not be able to answer this, but it's kind of a selfish question for myself about Energize and pregnancy. Do you have thoughts on that? Or I don't know, Don, if you and Tammy have done that, if she's drank it. That's the one thing that it's not the same as Shakeology, but I love it. It's a product that the company has out there that I love, and I've been struggling with workouts being pregnant. Do you have any thoughts on that? I haven't drank it over my pregnancy because I was worried about the quercetin, or however you say it, was the one ingredient.
The quercetin?
Yeah.
You know, I'll ask Neil that. Neil knows the performance line like I know Shakeology.
Okay. Yeah.
That's kind of his specialty.
Okay.
But I'll find out, and I'll get back with you in a couple days.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, Kim. I don't know the answer. Okay, we haven't been using Energize at all. Like in the past year, we haven't done the Energize.
I miss it.
Yeah. It is such an awesome product.
I miss it. So, yeah, I know it's not Shakeology related, but
the next biggest thing we need to do is develop a potent education serum that will have Seay Stanford Shakeology knowledge in it, and then you're going to inject every one of your prospects.
Like the Matrix.
They're going to have the instant knowledge, and you don't have to convey any of this. They're just going to instantly know everything about it.
I tell you guys, I tell my team, just keep it simple. Share your passion, share your story, learn a little bit every day. Utilize my website. I mean, we didn't have any of that when I started. I just started like building and learning, and I tell my new coaches, just go to my website, copy the link and send it to them. You don't need to get into all of that. But have confidence in knowing it's there.
Yeah, and what a turn for you. Like, just if you can make the point about, for those of you who may not have heard this, your story coming from a background of pharmaceutical sales, and how sad it was sitting in the offices and seeing all these sick people all the time. And then you finally just, something clicked and you said, how cool would it be to be on the preventive side?
Right. I mean, for 10 years, I sold diabetic medications, and truly you would sit in these waiting rooms with these, I mean, and any of you who have someone who knows someone who's diabetic, they're on 10 to 12 medications on average. Diabetics don't die of high sugars. They die, 80% of them die of cardiovascular disease, heart attack or stroke. They're on all different kinds of medications for all the different ailments. Their legs end up getting amputated. They end up on dialysis from kidney failure. They end up blind from retinopathy. It is a nasty, horrible disease that is preventable. And I remember looking at my bag with all my drugs in it and thinking, nothing in here is going to help these people. I'm sitting next to these people struggling to breathe, and my drug is not going to make them better. It's just going to mask another symptom and cause another side effect to make them on another drug. And when I ended up leaving pharmaceuticals and going into Beachbody, I'm like, it feels so damn good to be on the front end of health and prevention and not on the freaking back end of sickness and treating symptoms. And that's part of my why. Like, I truly, truly am passionate about helping the people that want to be helped. and getting them, off medications. And so many of the ingredients in Shakeology do exactly that. Is Shakeology perfect? No, you could absolutely go and make, if you had the time and energy and resources, but for the 95% of the population, it's just the easiest, most nutritious meal of the day.
It's fantastic. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add or ask?
Somebody has something about the vanilla somewhere. I don't remember. Oh, why do some people get sick from vanilla? I don't know. I've never heard that. I have to say personally, I don't love the vanilla. It's just my personal preference. And again, I stick with the white bags, but I don't know.
Sorry, just one more quick question. I was doing some stuff for Dawn at the gym. Some of the measures, the scoops are all different.
Oh, yeah.
Why is the chocolate one an 80 cc, but like...
Because the cacao is much thicker.
Okay.
The
So
chocolate,
they're actually putting then the quantity of powder in each of those bags must be a little different, so that you're still getting 30 servings with the
right.
larger scoops.
Right. It's just the cacao is more, it's just a thicker ingredient.
Interesting.
Chocolate.
There you go.
What else you got?
Yeah. Somebody's got a stumper. Come on.
All right, guys. Seriously, if they're like my site and my YouTube, mainly my website, but my YouTube, I've got so many resources because I just have my team use them as well.
Yeah.
But if you want to have me back in a few weeks, you run into some things and you're like, man, I'd like to hear how she presents that to clients or whatever, I'm more than happy. Dawn, just let me know.
I will.
Whether it's a few weeks or 6 months or whatever. So,
Right.
I mean, you know what? I'm all about helping other teams because the stronger we are, the stronger our company is, and the more we're able to help more people and not have them on other crap that's going to make them sicker. So I'm all about sharing and teamwork.
Awesome, Shay.
Shay, just given that I've tried to find the answer to this, if you could, when you have access to Darren again or Isabel, just if you wouldn't mind asking about the folic acid.
Yes.
Because if it's not methylated, if people are pregnant and they're relying on it, then they don't get the most important substance that they need if they had the same condition I do, which is a genetic condition, which is actually fairly common. People just aren't really aware of it. So somebody that could be a high-risk pregnancy, it's actually quite an important question.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. I will let you know if and when he gets back to me. Sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't. Just depends, I think, if he's in Peru or not.
Sure. All right, Shay, again, thank you so much for your time. And guys, going once, going twice. We good?
All right, guys.
This has been recorded. And if I get other questions or things that people request, Shay, I'll definitely reach out and let you know. But it's been great connecting with you and look forward to chatting again in the future.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a million. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. I'll post the link on the page to the recording. We'll see you.